Welcome to my channel Enjoy Biology, and today we will be discussing about human digestive system part 3. So yesterday we ended with the topic that the three parts of small intestine are duodenum, which is the first part, jejunum, which is the second part, and ileum, which is the third part. So here I have written the names. Duodenum is the first part, jejunum is the second part, and ileum is the third part. So in small intestine, all the components of food like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals are being absorbed from the small intestine into the body. So I'll be telling you the processes one by one about how the nutrients are being absorbed inside the body. So first we'll be describing what are the components of food that we get mainly. So first we have carbohydrates, then we have proteins, followed by fats, vitamins and minerals. So mainly we can think of 5 components of food, which are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals. Okay, so we all know that basically carbohydrates are nothing but sugars. So when many molecules of sugars are being combined together, they form polysaccharides. Saccharides mean sugars and poly means many. So many molecules of sugars. So these are being broken down into disaccharides, and these are being broken down into monosaccharides. So the last thing which we will get from carbohydrates is nothing but glucose. Now maltose is being broken down into 2 molecules of glucose with the help of enzyme maltase. Similarly, lactose is being broken down into 1 molecule of glucose and 1 molecule of galactose by the enzyme lactase. And similarly, sucrose is being broken down into 1 molecule of glucose and 1 molecule of fructose with the help of enzyme sucrase. So normally and in majority times enzymes end with the word ase. So whenever anything will be ending with ase, it will be telling about the name of an enzyme, but this doesn't work in 100% of the cases. For example, I told one enzyme name in stomach, that is pepsin. That is also an enzyme, but it does not end with the letters AACase. So these are some of the enzymes which ends with AACase, like maltase, lactase and sucrase. So when maltose is being broken down by maltase, we get 2 molecules of glucose, that is glucose plus glucose. Now when lactose is broken down by lactase, we get glucose plus galactose. When sucrose is being broken down by sucrase, we get glucose and fructose. So carbohydrates part is over now. Now we will be dealing with proteins. Proteins are being broken down into amino acids, because amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. Now next we have fats. So fats are being broken down into fatty acids plus glycerol. Now the problem arises, where are these enzymes coming from suddenly inside the small intestine? For example, maltase, lactase, sucrase, what enzymes are being breaking down proteins into amino acids and what enzymes are being breaking down fats into fatty acids and glycerol. So here, when the food is being pushed from the stomach into the small intestine, the food is acidic in nature because in the stomach already the food is being exposed to gastric HCl or hydrochloric acid. That acid can be harmful for the walls of the small intestine, and that's why that acidity has to be neutralized by some chemical substance. So two chemical substances helps in neutralizing the acidic food that is coming from the stomach into the small intestine. This organ is known as the liver, and this sac-like organ, the small one, is known as the gallbladder. So one liquid or a chemical substance or a fluid is being secreted from liver and is being stored into the gallbladder that flows inside the small intestine with the help of bile duct. That chemical is known as bile. So bile is secreted by liver and is stored in the gallbladder, and it comes by bile duct that flows into the small intestine. So here's one liquid that helps in neutralizing the acidic food coming from the stomach. One more liquid is being coming from pancreas, which is this organ, which is leaf-like organ called pancreas. This, with the help of pancreatic duct. Duct means a pipe or tube. With the help of pancreatic duct, it secretes pancreatic juice. So pancreatic juice has certain constituents, or it contains certain substances that helps in the breakdown of carbohydrates into glucose, proteins into amino acids, and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. So the first component is pancreatic amylase that helps in the breakdown of carbohydrates. Next, pancreatic lipase that helps in the breakdown of lipids or fats. Last, we have proteases or enzyme that can break down the proteins. Those can be trypsin or chymotrypsin that helps in breaking down proteins into amino acids. So mainly we are having three enzymes, that is pancreatic amylase that helps in the breakdown of carbohydrates. Next we have pancreatic lipase that helps in the breakdown of lipids or fats, and then we have trypsin or chymotrypsin that helps in the breakdown of proteins into amino acids. So like we were discussing earlier, polysaccharides are broken down into disaccharides and from there to monosaccharides. So all of this maltase, lactase, sucrase, these all are contained inside pancreatic amylase. Pancreatic amylase, it helps in the breakdown of carbohydrates resulting into glucose. Now proteins are being broken down into amino acids because of proteases like trypsin or chymotrypsin. Fats are being broken down into fatty acids and glycerol because of pancreatic lipase. And these all enzymes are put into pancreatic amylase. The name pancreatic amylase is very similar to one more enzyme, that is salivary amylase, which is secreted by the salivary glands inside the mouth for breakdown of starch into simpler carbohydrate forms. Here pancreatic amylase is being secreted from the pancreas in pancreatic juice that helps in the breakdown of complex carbohydrates into simpler carbohydrates in the form of glucose. So all these forms like glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, glycerol, all these simpler forms are being absorbed inside the small intestine. Inside the small intestine, there are finger-like projections on the walls of the small intestine which are known as villi, or it can be pronounced as villi. It helps in increasing the surface area of the small intestine so that it increases the rate of absorption of all these nutrients. And if we zoom one of the finger-like projections of villi, it will be having micro projections on the top. So this full thing is the villi or the villi, and these micro projections on the top of villi are known as microvilli. This increases the surface area of villi itself, increasing the rate of absorption of all the nutrients that are broken down from carbohydrates into glucose, proteins into amino acids, and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. So we have finished whatever takes place within the small intestine, that is within duodenum, jejunum and ileum. So after ileum, the food is being pushed into this sector which is known as the large intestine, and the functions of large intestine, rectum and anus we will be discussing in the next video.